Father, as we come before you tonight as a board, I would like to say thank you for how you've blessed this town. God, as we go into deliberations tonight, I ask that you would give us wisdom and knowledge to make the decisions that will be best for the citizens of Benson. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Now let's go ahead and pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
I make the motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Those who oppose? Okay, next I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the, well, we don't have a consent agenda.
I make
No,
Okay. Any old business?
The budget.
just the
Just the
budget.
budget, okay.
So after speaking with everybody and getting input, there were 2 revisions sent out that everybody got. The after-hours reconnect fee for utility billing will remain at $70 for the upcoming fiscal year instead of moving to $100. And then the 2 part-time customer service representatives for the finance department will be combined into 1 full-time administrative specialist 2, which will still be in the finance department. That position will still function as the backup for the customer service representative, but that will also allow that position to have more specialized training in the finance department and back up other employees in the finance department as well. And there's no monetary change for either of those in the overall budget.
Does the revised fee, or not, the remaining fee of $70, does that cover our cost? Are we covering our cost if we have to bring somebody back in to do a water meter?
Yes, because again, it's just the water meter, and they try to, if there's gonna be multiple at one time, they'll wait a couple hours and see, so just bring that person in one time. Again, we do have to pay the 2-hour minimum, for anybody that does come in, but in the grand scheme of the overall fee schedule and the budget, it's still acceptable.
But that means that rate doesn't increase, and we're increasing all of the other rates, because $70 is what we're charging currently, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that means no increase at all.
For the after-hours reconnect, correct?
Right.
And I'm open to anybody if there's more questions, if need some more clarification, wanna have more discussions, whatever you guys would like to or need to hear.
After our conversation, have you seen any other way to change anything as far as water, sewer, utility rates on commercial?
Water, sewer, so for water, sewer, residential and commercial are still the same, and those increases, no, because that is solely the year 1 rate for the rural water plus the increase from Johnston County. And again, Johnston County imposed a 35% base and a 6% usage. We're only passing along that 6% usage from the Johnston County side. So those figures are the minimum with just those 2 increases.
Including commercial?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know we don't want to, and it won't happen in this budget, I'm sure. But if this board doesn't commit to increasing taxes, then all these other amenities with Parks and Rec and police departments and fire and all of these other amenities that we're offering and can't afford, they've got to be changed. I've looked at Dunn taking a 4%, Smithfield taking a 4%, Four Oaks taking a 4% increase in taxes. Yeah, they're not where we are, but Smithfield's doing it so they can put an additional $3 million or whatever on roads. Their roads are just like ours, all to pieces. We're not gonna be able to do our roads and some of these other things if we don't look. And I hate to say it, that a 1% increase in our taxes, from what I've gathered from y'all, would generate somewhere around 40,000. That isn't the time of day, really. I mean, that doesn't add but 40,000 back in on a 1% increase. So until we get serious about what we're offering and what we're gonna do, keep saying, industry is what pays taxes. We have very few industries. If we want to keep it like that, then our taxes are gonna have to go through the roof to pay for these amenities. You can't do it. You can't do it off water, sewer increases on anybody. And that's taking a big hit. I don't know what I'm gonna end up doing, but they ran my figures for last month on the laundromat. On the laundromat. Now, my water and sewer bills are pretty high, but I'm fixing to take a hit. If we keep everything, I'm taking a hit of $900 a month increases, just in increases on that laundromat. Now, I'm willing to do it, but I'm not willing to do it every year. I know we have been behind because the boards have set up here in the past, including me, and says, oh, we're financially good, we're gonna keep taxes down, but we've got to look at the big picture 5, 6 years from now. Everything, it's just like Max had said, everything is gonna keep going up every year. I don't know where it's gonna stop, utilities, whatever, but we've got to stay in tune. We can't come up one year, wait 5, and come up one year and say, let's play catch up, because I don't know how I can't increase what I'm doing, because I wouldn't have any, they can't afford what they've got now. So I want us to take a big look. I've met with y'all, I've studied this, seeing if there's anything that we can do different. I've gone back to some of the old minutes that I had and the old increases. I don't know, and I'm not for raising taxes because it hits me commercial and it hits me residential hard. And I have all ideas with the reevaluation from the county, it's gonna hit us all again. But as a board, if we're gonna control this thing, we need to control it and say, okay, here's what we're gonna do, and we need to do it. So that's my 2 cents worth. I don't have your answers. Yeah.
I got
wish
a
did.
question, cause, just make sure I'm hearing this. Taxes have nothing to do with the water rates or the power rates.
That's exactly right. We're not
Okay,
going to
okay, I
taxes.
misunderstood what you were saying then.
No, we're
Okay.
taking our increases in utilities,
Yeah.
which is a tax, but it's not a tax.
Right.
Okay, we're getting it somewhere. Somebody has got to pay to make the budget work.
Right, but I just didn't want to,
No, we're
we were talking
not,
about raising taxes, but.
we're not going up on taxes.
I understand that, but
We
like
don't know
next
that
year,
yet.
say if you did, there might be an increase in power as well.
Well,
Oh, there's gonna be an increase in power.
subsidize an enterprise fund.
I think just to make
Right.
sure, and I'm sure you do, Dean, because I agree with Will wholeheartedly, and I can tell you this, and I've said this for years, and I feel like we're continuing to miss the boat. When I was in a meeting with the county commissioner on Wednesday night, I was informed that they're proposing a 2-cent tax decrease because of the growth in the northern part of the county. That is our opportunity, and the southern part is the poor end of the county, to maintain what you call revenue neutral by increasing 2 cents, and other than reevaluations would happen every 4 years, you don't see that tax increase to the homeowner, right? And I want you to understand who we're hitting right now. This is based off of Google, so I don't know but right now, we're about 53% tenants, right? Taxes don't affect tenants. It doesn't affect them. The rates is what affects tenants. So as tenants, we are hitting more of our population or voting population when we raise rates versus raising taxes. And so I can tell you, they have continually reduced their tax rate at the county level for the past 5 years, and every year we've sat here and missed a chance to be able to be revenue neutral to a property owner when they don't see a difference in their tax rate, and be able to maintain a better income for the town of Benson to provide the services that they want, or that I want as a citizen.
Except for last year.
Except for last year, that's correct.
And I just got a text that, the county is dropping their county rate 2%.
2
2
cents.
cents.
2 cents,
2
not percent,
cent.
2 cents.
their
Not
budget went
2%,
from
2 cents.
Right,
right.
it went from 69 to 67.
So we could technically raise 2 cents and get $80,000 in our budget to go toward paving and all the things that we are not getting done, or anything that you wanted to go toward, or not, or either we need to all go get wagons and mules and start riding around on them, because I can tell you our streets in a horrible condition and we don't have the money to fix it.
Yeah, and $80,000 wouldn't pave this parking lot.
You're exactly right.
I
You're
mean,
exactly right. Because what do we get from the state stipend? $105,000 a year. What it costs $50,000 to get them here to set up, most likely. So I mean, realistically, we don't have any paving budget or money at all as a town.
and it's easy to sit up here and tell y'all what needs to be done. But look, I don't know what needs to be done. I don't know what the answer. I wish I'd say, okay, look, Ike Parker gets paid too much money, fire Ike and put that money and we'll pave some streets. But that don't happen. Yeah, I've looked at you, I've looked at you, Sally. I've looked at you, Sally.
Well, I basically agree with what you're saying, but as we look at the budget, we are just breaking even every year. We are not increasing the budget any at all.
That's right.
We are
That's right.
just breaking evenly. But I'm telling y'all, we might have to look at some serious budget cuts. I'm serious. And start making some of these jobs and put them in a dual position and save some money that way. That might be one of the ways we're gonna have to go, but we're gonna have to do something different. I understand what you're saying, both of you, but
And
I'm
you
just
know, I
saying.
looked at salaries and I looked at
Yes.
people, what we could combine.
yes.
And you know, I couldn't come up with any.
Well,
I mean,
can't-
I would really like to point a finger and say, yeah, we can put these two together and get rid of these two, but I couldn't come up with that.
How much currently are we paying retirees insurance? I seen one of them was 19,000 for a year.
And we don't have that many on retirement.
talking about separation.
Yeah,
Oh,
police
okay. Is that what it
separation
is?
pay?
That's their
Yeah.
salary.
How much is
Separation
it?
allowance you
Have to pay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
law
How much?
enforcement. Yeah,
That's right.
How much is that?
It's line item, two fifty,
hold on.
5100, 250.
Separation allowance,
Hold on.
I'm not ready to pass this budget.
But, Kim, we don't have that many on retirement, right?
We just have two police
Right, I
officers
didn't-
right now, and we budgeted, this fiscal year, 38,801 for those two. And that's a formula that the state gives you,
Right.
and that you have to follow that.
And they go out to market and they get insurance and we gotta
No,
pay.
no, no, that's their separation
This is separation
allowance.
pay.
Okay.
That's just for police officers that have hit 25 years in law enforcement. Not necessarily 25 years with the town of Benson, but they have to hit 25 years in law enforcement altogether. And so we have two police officers that have retired with us in the last couple years that fall in this separation.
So it's only
allowance.
law enforcement we pay that separation pay.
For
so do
separation
we-
allowance. But we do not currently pay anybody's retirement insurance.
Okay, until they
Because
get
they have-
62.
They, well,
You
they
gotta work
have to,
30 years.
they have to
Ah.
work here physically 30 years.
Safe to do.
If they do, then we do it till they're 65. But we don't have anybody right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we had two people, like 2 years ago. One fell off in 2021, and maybe one fell off in 2022.
Yeah, once they reach
Yeah.
65, we don't, and
We-
we don't do any kind
We
of
literally say
supplemental
happy
insurance.
birthday, you don't have insurance.
Yeah, they have to do that.
Yeah, but they have to work here 30 years. And if it's 25 years, they get 50%.
Now, would that, coming from another town, does that include that? Okay.
Half their years. 50,
Yeah.
half their, if they've been at that other town for 10 years, then we can, at least 10 years, we can bring over 50%.
Yeah, we were late.
That was what we did. We did that, remember, last year,
Yeah.
but
We missed that.
nobody's under that rule that I'm aware of. No, yeah.
I think my only concern with the budget, and I don't think it's a budget, I don't know what the answer is unless we take drastic changes, is the fact, in my mind, I know that we've got a balanced budget, but in my mind, with the contracts that we're gonna have to renegotiate this year, we're starting in the negative. That is my mind right now, because I can tell you, everybody up here for the past 5 years has complained about trash services, and I can tell you from being in the service industry, if you want better, you pay more. Right? I mean, that's just the way it works. And so, and we're gonna have to renegotiate this year, and I don't know that we're gonna be able to do that and save
have to.
money.
And we also have to renegotiate loan.
And we also have to, and interest rates are a lot higher than they used to be, right? And so, in my mind, if we pass this budget tonight, we are in the negative starting. And and maybe I'm the only one that gets it as a commissioner that we've gone over budget for the past several years, because we've got all these plans out there and hope and fruition is that the state's gonna come through with $23 million that I haven't seen a single check yet. But in my mind, we are starting in the hole. And as a business owner, I would never want to start my annual budget in the hole, right? And that's just where I'm at. And I know that nobody, at least 5 of, or a few of y'all, I want to raise taxes because I moved to town because I wanted the services. And I am not willing to give up a service because I don't want to pay an extra penny. And I pay a lot more taxes than homeowners do, right? And so I can tell you, for me, I want to make sure that my streets can be paved, my utilities can be resurfaced, and I can have police officers and electricians and or electrical department and firemen when I need them. That's what I moved to town for. If not, I can move back to the farm, and I won't have to worry about it. But that is the reason I moved into Benson. And I feel like at some point in time, if we don't grasp that and say we need to take advantage of these tax decreases that the county keeps passing to be able to increase our revenue, instead of sitting here looking at the budget, we're going to be looking at our constituents and asking, or you're not going to get trash next year because we can't afford it.
So are you wanting to go up 2% and put it specifically in, 2 cent and put it specifically in resurfacing?
Absolutely.
Well, it would be a wash.
It
I
would.
mean, it's gonna be the same.
I want to have
tax.
to-
Well, I mean, you can always take, like what we've been trying to do is move whatever we get from POW bill into that project fund, so you can build and then pave a lot in like every 5 years. But
I look
we
at
also haven't paved a lot because we do have so many infrastructure projects.
I look at this from a different standpoint, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe y'all are going to tell me I'm wrong. But the revisions, right? $70. I mean, maybe we're covering our cost, but who wants to cover our cost? If you're not paying your power bill, it's because you choose not to pay your power bill, and there is an option for you to go on prepay if you need your power. Right? That is an option. That is a get out of jail free card in my mind. Right? I'm in the rental business. People don't pay me rent because they don't choose to pay me rent until I take their tail to court, and then all of a sudden they come up with the money. It's amazing, right? And so, secondly, $37,525. I can't hire a financial assistant in my business for $37,000 a year. How are you going to be able to hire a financial assistant for $37,000 a year? I don't see that happening. I'll be very, very surprised if that happens. And so I'm wondering, I feel like if you hire a full-time financial assistant because we need it in customer service, then we're going to go over budget on that in order to get one that's probably going to give the service that I expect as a citizen, right? I mean, but that's just the way I look at things. And I don't know, y'all may disagree with me, but for years we have not raised. We've done one tax raise in 6 years, I think, since I've been on this board.
One really for general fund
That's-
since like a really long time. We've done
2012, I believe, was the first general fund, maybe, if I'm not
fire tax. I
mistaken.
think that was fire tax.
That was fire tax. And I'm just saying, that I manage HOAs, and we do a 10% increase every year almost to cover inflation. And I don't understand how this town has gotten along this long without doing some type of tax increase to cover inflation. I just don't understand it. It's just not budgetly possible unless you continue to have vacancies, which we continue to have because we can't get people for the funding that we're offering, or unless we give up services. And I'm not willing to give up services. That's the reason I moved into this town.
I agree with William almost 100%. Some of the services that we're offering that's going out on bid, I think we're gonna find probably better services for less money, because I think that our trash pickup right now has really been turned loose, and they've done about what they wanted to and charged this town about what they want to. You can't tell me that trash pickup here is $25 and the same company doing the same business in Irwin and it's $8. The very same business in Irwin, we're paying 25, they're paying 8. I'm saying that we need to look, if it's commercial, if it's canisters, and we got one company that will do it for this, then we need to look at that company to do that. If they are not in the residential pickup, then we need to talk to the people that are in the residential, what they offer, and I guarantee you it's gonna be cheaper than what we're paying.
Yeah, our bid right now has 3 separate options on it in regards to garbage.
Okay,
So we've split it, like, here's commercial, here's residential, here's if we just need dumpsters for special occasions. We've split it all up, so it's broken out, so even if they're not residential, they can bid on the commercial side or the dumpster side.
and I think probably GFL has gone up because they could, and they were never questioned about it, because it's just, they've got so many figures in a big figure here, you can't keep up with it because it's a different figure every month. Only reason I caught on to it is because mine should be the same every month unless I get a little charge for garbage disposal or landfill fees or gas. We can probably keep on top, especially with putting it on bid. Another thing is, we've got so many things out there on contract. It's just like grass. I don't know that we're going to get grass any cheaper. We may. Put it on bid, see what you get. You didn't get but one the last time, and then you had to talk with him to get him to step up and do what he needed to at the right time.
Yeah, we have a lot of
Interest.
interest in the grass cutting, which I did the last time and nobody submitted it but the one. But I think you've got some eager new. But it also concerns me a little bit because they're new. So can they handle the work? Handle the amount of work that we have. But I think you'll get more bids this year. I really do, with all the interest that we've been getting. Grass and garbage calls like nonstop, and emails, and so.
Well, some things that we don't get calls on because they don't know that's coming up is our insurance. Dennis Moore is no longer in business. We've got a company that is not local, but every time you call, he answers. I think we need to make sure that we are covered with what we think we're covered on. I still can't get over this dinosaur that we're in right here and the money that we have to pour into it, and all of a sudden we have got thousands of gallons of water pouring through the roof, and I understand that our insurance says, I've talked to the roofers and it's not a roofing problem.
It's not storm damage. It's not storm related. It's the building.
It didn't happen until we had a storm.
Right, but the building is rotting and they can prove that it's rotting. So they won't pay for it.
You gotta show an immediate damage. You
Yeah.
gotta be able to show that hail.
we
or
did it.
I
tornado-
saw immediate damage.
Well, you saw water coming through. That was just because it rained that day.
Well,
I even talked to Reed about that, and he was like, I wish I could tell you it was any different, Kim, but it's
Uh-huh.
not.
Well,
So,
And that may cost us more, but some things may cost us a little less.
Right.
I'm
I can
just
tell
saying,
you,
we
I
need
pay
to be on
less for
top of
trash in
everything.
our HOAs that we do contracts with, and we've got a lot less homes in our subdivisions than we do in this town. And I think I just went out for bid last month, and I think I got $10 to $12 a can for garbage, and that was for a 50-lot subdivision, and not for a 38-home community, or
Well,
38
home.
I've had two
Right.
companies
Right.
call
I mean,
me just on my commercial dumpster wanting my business, and I hadn't contacted them, I hadn't let them know that I've had a problem.
But I think,
So the town can do the same thing.
I just would like to see 1 year of surplus of funds. And I would like to put that surplus of funds in pavement or in the ground, because I don't think if we do anything with it, or staffing, if we need to do that to be able to keep our staffing levels where they're manageable. But I mean, realistically, as a homeowner and as a business owner in the town, to ride around and see the streets in the way we are, and to know that we're gonna be possibly break even negative next year, that means that we're not gonna be able to, and you can say that we're gonna put it off until we get all the money to do the infrastructure all you want, but I've not seen that money hit yet. And I'd much rather be able to put some pavement somewhere on some streets, because, well, how much did we do last year? $200,000 worth, and you can't even tell it, right? And so, and I think people need to know that, and that's what I tell people. Like, we paved streets last year, we did $200,000 worth. That was 2 years worth of our state stipend. We can't rely on the state stipend to pave the streets in this town. I wish we would've went and took a loan out when the interest rates were 1 or 2%, paved every one of them. We'd have been better off. But we didn't. And I'm just saying that revenue neutral for me is not giving anybody any benefit in this town. We're just breaking even. And if people can't, never mind, I won't say that. I would like to see some infrastructure changes and us be able to give the things to the people that they complain about, if nothing in stages. And I don't think this budget allows for that. I don't think it allows for us to have any extra to do anything to improve and make the town better.
So if we increase it by 2 cents, what is everybody else's thought on that, knowing that the county has approved a budget of a 2 cent decrease? And, or is everybody else willing to do that? Cause we have to have the budget approved next week.
I'm willing to do that. I don't think we have any choice. It's just one part of it. It's not going to be. It's not going to be the thing. It won't solve the problem.
Right.
It really won't solve much of the problem. You know, one of the things that if y'all remember that spreadsheet we did back in the I did back in the thing. You know, one of the key things which the guy said too was from 2020 to now. No year did we take in less money than we budgeted. We got the money we needed, but every year, almost every year, we went $1 million over the budget. And so we got to figure that, just like you said, we're gonna go $1 million over the budget this year too. And you know, so it's gonna. We've got to figure out something now that's going to hurt, because we're gonna hit the shore. We're gonna hit the wall, and we won't be able to come back from it. I don't know what we can do, but we got to do something, man. And it's going to be. I think we need to look hard at like y'all said, combining jobs and tighten up every way we can. And you know, I know we've talked about over the years how I'm a business animal and a government animal is a different animal in the zoo. I get that, but we might need to be more like business animals, because that time we gave taxes back, that was the dumbest thing we ever did, you know. And so, why we want to, we're scared to death we're going to get $1 to be able to save it and have some cushion, have some rainy day funds is not smart. We need to figure out a way. I know it's not things that we're not going to get those rainy day funds immediately, but we've just got to keep keeping our head above water and keep getting down the stream until we can do it. And we got so many hard choices, and I don't have any answers either. That's why I dread saying it, because I don't have anything. And you know, the hard thing for staff, I think, is they'd have to make tough cuts, and they have to suggest tough cuts. If we don't go with it, they've opened a can of worms with suggesting a tough cut. It's hard. It's real hard. You know,
Well, I think we got to realize, we're not talking about what's gonna happen next week. We're talking about what's gonna happen 5, 6 years from now. Just like you said at the last meeting, things are gonna go up. Okay, things are gonna go up, or the whole country's gonna be busted. I mean, one or the other, it goes up. Our utilities, we can't do anything about Duke, electric city, anything. It's going up every year. Solar,
You know, and the thing about it too is that if the Kempa charges us more, if the garbage people charge us more, if the grass people charge us more, we gotta go up. You know, it's not our fault. It's not our fault. You know, we can't try to absorb every time somebody charges us more money. We just try to absorb it in and get it from somewhere we ain't got it. We gotta say, look a person on the street straight in the face and say, you know, the power source we use to get your power went up 3 cents. It's going up 3 cents. Everybody understands that. The person that don't understand it is just messing with it.
well, 2 cents not gonna save us. 2 cents gonna add maybe 80,000 into our working budget. But that's one step that we've got to look at. I mean, if everybody across the board was taking the same hit that I'm fixing to take on just utilities, you would have this room full of people. They tell you real quick, you can't increase me $900 a month for anything.
But if the cost of it has gone up that much, you got no choice.
That's right, or you close your doors.
It wouldn't have been a $900 increase had we been taking inflation into account the past 10 years.
And that's my whole argument. If we would have been doing it when I was sitting on the board before, when we were sitting there, we got 50% reserve. If we would have actually known the figures, no, we sat here as a board in the past and said, no, we can't go up. Look how much money we got in reserve. Well, it's not in reserve. Okay, it's in land and buildings and all kinds of stuff. So we have got to start. We have got to start, whether it's across the board with going up 2 cents this year, and I'm like you. When they gave it back, that was done. When people get used to something, they get used to it and they pay it. It's just like gas. Everybody's running around looking $3 a gallon gas, thinking they're getting a deal. When last year I paid $1.98 a gallon for it, and I thought I was getting a deal then. That is,
You know,
crazy.
at that time, we weren't in the same spot we're in now, but we didn't have $100 million in the bank either. You know, that makes sense to do it then, but if you just got a little reserve and all, it's stupid. It was a stupid thing to do.
It is.
And,
It
so,
is.
You know, another thing that, I know we gotta explore all possibilities, and this may be, not a great thing to say, but I think we need to sell some buildings and land.
You think
We
what?
need to sell anything we got that we can sell, we need to sell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't need to be holding it.
We've tried that, though, other than the cemetery. What else is left? The cemetery and the lot on Main Street? Is that it?
How about this building?
Well,
You're not going to be able to give this building away.
There's
We
a-
got it for
They
free.
don't want.
There's some
And there's a reason why we got it
conversation
for
that we
free.
need to have, but not
Yeah.
tonight. But I need to talk to Ike about it first, but in regards to a building. But yeah, I did that when Mr. Johnson was sitting in your seat. I gave them a list of properties. We sold the well, we sold the lot on Woodall Street. The only thing really we have left is the cemetery.
And from the project list that I saw from DOT, the Dunn Street realignment is on that project list.
It is.
So that means we need to hold on to that lot so we can realign that if possible.
When did they put it on their thing?
They put it on there this year.
This year, it's on their project list.
It doesn't mean
Because
that.
they said that one in the project, that would have been a betterment.
Not not the 95 project. Every year
Okay.
DOT
It's on-
says
it's
this
on
is our,
their funding list.
this is
Oh,
what we
oh,
want
okay.
to fund, and right
Okay.
now it is on that project list to be funded. Not saying it will, not saying it will happen, but they're at least considering doing
Yeah.
that, funding that project. And if they fund it, then it's a separate project from I-95. They would just come and do it, right? And so,
Yeah, cause
I-
we've clearly tried to market it, but in order to do that, you've got to have the surrounding properties around it, and they're not willing to do anything with it.
I just know that there's 5 other municipalities with higher tax rates than they do, and I know they face the same challenges that we do, right? Clayton, who's probably got the biggest commercial tax base in the county right now, has got a higher tax rate than we do, and that's how they're funding the projects that we need. And I don't know I'll be honest, I don't know what the evaluation is going to look like, because the real estate market is not what the real estate market was 2 years ago. I can tell you that for a fact. And so the valuation may go up, but it may not go up like it did last time. So we can't count on the reevaluation to say we're going to get $1 million in extra funds. And so that's, and if we do, we've given back before, and I'm not a proponent of that, but it says we can't give back next year if it does surprise us. But I just don't like starting out the year in the red. That's just the way I feel. And I feel like the budget right now is a bare skin and bones budget. And it doesn't make my life as a town of Benson resident I don't even think it'll keep it the same for the next 12 months, much less make it better. And if I'm not making it better for me, I'm not making it better for my children 10 or 15 years down the road.
Well, does anyone else have anything to say about the budget?
Well, I mean, if we're taking polls, right, so Max is a yes, William is a yes, I'm assuming Will is a yes. Miss Maxine?
Here we go again.
Well, I mean, like, I don't wanna bring it, we don't
But
wanna.
I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
It's your opinion.
yeah, it is my opinion, and I have to think about that a little bit more. I'm just coming down, because I do not, like I said, we are gonna have to dig deeper than taxing. We're gonna have to dig deeper than that. We are going to eventually have to look at some budget cuts. Some budget cuts and making some dual positions. We're gonna have to do that to save some money. I know we'll sit here and say, but, I don't think that anybody here is overworked. I don't think, I don't come up here that regular. But when I come, I don't see anybody overwhelmed with customers and stuff. That's why I asked her to one person in that front. I don't see putting 2 part-time people in the front customer service. I mean, sometimes you can have too much help and you don't get nothing done. And so that's where I'm stuck, huh?
Look at the State Department.
That's exactly right. And they couldn't left and right. So, we're just gonna have to think about some deeper cuts than raising tax. We're gonna have to. I don't know what the answer is. I wish I did. I wish that we were not starting off breaking even, because that's basically what we're doing. And I know something has to change, because you can't go from year to year wondering how you're gonna do that, because you don't know what's coming. You never know what's gonna happen in that year. So,
I agree, Ms. Maxine. I think we got to look at both, and I think now that hopefully we've got a budget officer that is here full time doing budget, we've got somebody that can look at both. I just know, to me, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm reading this wrong. When I see that $37,000 salary, when Camino's whose salaries, that just added another $12,000 to benefits that we've got to offer. So that $37,000 just became $49,000.
that's right.
And that means, because now you've got to offer full-time benefits
Which
as
is why
well as
we
that
had them
salary.
listed as part-time.
That's right, and so that puts us in the red automatically, right? If we budgeted a $37,000, I don't know what you budgeted for that. Did you budget the insurance in that salary as well?
There's enough to cover that, yes.
Okay, so maybe I'm reading too far into the lines, I've been in the weeds too deep before, but I think you're right. I think if we were to follow the county's gift, I look at it as a gift. They just gave me 2 pennies that I can collect from my from my constituents, and they're not gonna see any difference other than a reevaluation. I feel that that's a gift from Johnson County for us to increase our revenue. And then if we can increase it by $80,000, which is 2 cents, and then we understand that that's not gonna really be the help, But then we also look at the positions and see if we can reduce costs. We might can turn that $80,000 into $100,000 or something that does pad our pocket a little bit more. And that's just the way I look at it as far as from the business standpoint and as a homeowner in town. That's the same way I look at it.
Well, and I do agree, even from my standpoint, I know in our conversation, all of our conversations, I need to be able to look at these expenditures over the next 12 months before I can safely say, these are places that I'm comfortable making those decisions. Now, if you all want to approve with the proposed 2%, we take that too.
Cents.
Sorry,
I know,
we started it.
We
Started it.
started
Two
it
cents.
Same.
2 pennies.
2 pennies.
2 pennies.
2 cents. That's right at an estimated $82,000. If we use that solely as assuming there will be overages and just use that as a little cushion for this year so that we can sit back and look at not only positions but expenditures in general and the spending habits of the town, and especially if we can get a finance director in here whose daily duty is to watch these expenditures and see the trends, because if they notice the same people are buying the same things at the same places, we can consolidate, buy in bulk. There needs to be someone to look at all of those things on top of somebody looking at the overall budget spending. So I think if we, again, have this same conversation 12 months from now, we're going to be able to make very well educated decisions in where things can be cut and adjusted. Not to mention, a lot of those things can take place mid-year just in the daily operations of the town.
I mean, we were talking about today, like, Kayla and I were, and I said, you know, for several years, I've been wanting to put out for bid something as simple as uniforms. So we have a fixed cost across the board for that 12 months for just Parks and Rec uniforms, and we know exactly how much they're gonna cost. And it's just that myself, in general, having the time in the last 5 years to get it all together and get it out there. And so having more hands to help do those things. I mean, essentially, it's what a purchasing officer would do, but you take a budget manager and a finance director and put them together, and that's things that they, you know, office supplies. You know, we all get it from Office Value, or Amazon, or, you know, we kind of Quill. Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of buying at our own wheel, but like we can have a central hub for office supplies, and then, you know, get a deal on those things. We just haven't had the capabilities to do those things. So, yeah.
So those are things we're already going to look at and put in place throughout the next 12 months anyway. But once we have the time to do that, we will be able to make those more educated
Yeah.
cuts. I can't find the right word to say, maybe not cuts, but more monitored spending.
Yeah. I look at our staffing right now, and I know you don't see like a lot of customers in town hall. We do have online banking, online bill pay and stuff, but like the day to day, we stay pretty busy. I mean, you gotta think what once was a position that myself and Matt and Connie did in HR is now 2 positions, and they're busy. They're keeping up with the benefits, with onboarding, with putting out job description. I mean, they stay very busy. So what was a combined position at one time is now 2 people. You know, so
it's hard because 90% of those positions, all of their work is computer or web-based. So it's hard to look at those positions on a daily basis and say whether they are or not producing or have an output that when I was here 10 years ago, we saw all these customers coming into the windows. Everybody was paying cash. There was no online payments. You could see those things. But it's hard because so much of our work is either our computers, our phones, and I don't just mean us. I mean most of the town. So it's hard to put a qualifying figure on how much work people are doing every day that's visible, if that makes sense.
So if this budget was to be approved as is with the proposal of the 2 cent, then at what point would the 2 cent kick in?
I would have to, when this budget is approved, I have to turn it into the tax office. So if y'all approved it, say tonight, and say, we're gonna approve it with a 2 cent increase in taxes, and put it kinda like she was saying, then I would send it tomorrow to Ashley with an approved budget and say, this is the breakout. So this goes to fire, this is general, this is parks. Like, I would do the breakout to Ashley. So it would go into effect when you get your tax bill.
Kim, if it's not approved tonight, it has to be approved the 27th, which
Yes.
is next Thursday night.
Yes.
No matter what.
We
No
have to
matter
have-
whether we go 2 cent or whether we don't, it's got to be approved.
It's gotta be approved
And
next week.
then the same thing happens.
Yeah.
And
Same
that
thing.
also, with the fee schedule changes, with even just inputting the approved budget into the system, that shorter turnaround time means we might not have the time to get all of those fee changes in the system and ready to roll July 1st. If the more time we have to get everything entered and ready to go in the billing system as well as the financial system, we can ensure that when midnight hits on July 1st, everything is up to date per the approved budget.
Yeah, cause Crystal's gonna have to put in all the new rates in billing before she does billing on July 1st.
I think the bigger realization is we're not gonna solve all the problems that this town has in the next
Week.
week. But we do have to approve a budget. And we need to give them time to be able to get those budget changes made before July 1st.
But we
And
still have to meet next week. Even if you
Okay.
approve the budget tonight, we still have to have the meeting next week, cause we gotta have all the final budget amendments and,
Right.
you know, I gotta
Well,
close
the
the
reason
year
I
out
was
this week.
asking that, I know Ms. Maxine is not really prepared or wanting
Right,
to
yeah.
do something. All of a sudden, we're looking at another 2 cent. I don't have any more answers than I've thrown out there. I know we sit on this board and it's not for the big bucks. If it was, I sure wouldn't be sitting here. It's because we want to better the town. I mean, you said that 82,000, if we do this, it could turn into 100,000.
Turn into zero.
I'm,
More
that's
likely,
right.
more likely to
But
turn into zero.
I'm retired. I'm on a fixed income, but as far as my check here that I get for sitting here, it ain't minimum wage, and to put it back in to help the rest of the town, I'm all for it, if it helps any at all. As a board member, I know it's not much, but a lot of times I feel like that it's more than I feel like I have accomplished here, so.
I'll give you one too.
See,
What's that?
it's just
That's,
little.
that's 27. I'll give you I didn't know there was a check here till after I got elected. So yeah, I mean, I don't need the 2,700 a year. And then 2,700 a year?
It's bought some golf
Something.
balls for me, but
Has it bought some golf balls for you?
I can do away with that.
That's not why I'm here. And I don't think
Well,
that's
I
the
don't
reason
think
I'm here.
anybody's here for the salary, cause it's
No.
definitely not a salary.
That's
Now, I can tell you that, so I don't think anybody's here for that reason.
right.
But at the same time, I don't see where that is gonna help. I really don't, as a whole, in the long run, I do not. It might be a little fixture, but it's not a fix to the
No.
budget, and we need to fix the budget and stop bandaging it. That's what needs to happen. I don't know what the answer is, but I know I'm not voting tonight for it, I can tell you that.
Dean, what are your thoughts on the 2 cents?
I'm not voting tonight for it, and, I mean, I hear all the.
What about next week?
Huh?
What is your thoughts in general on the 2 cents?
2 cent, I don't know, I might think about it, but one thing I will say, the 2 cents, because this board is thinking about joining the alliance for 55,000. And we're talking about all this stuff. Are you really gonna join the alliance and raise taxes?
Thank you.
I don't think we have a choice. I think,
Yeah, but all the stuff I heard, I mean, 55,000 to 80.
I
we
think we
gotta
have
feel
to,
the need. If we gonna feel that need, we're just wasting our time. We're not
So,
gonna make it. It's just-
Are
that's
we
not
raising
different to me.
taxes? Are we raising taxes to fix all the problems you talked about? Or are we raising to join the alliance?
I don't think raising those, if we were gonna raise taxes to fix all the problems we have in this town, we'd have to double our rate.
We
I
would
don't
do
think,
it.
I don't think 2 cents would be able to get it. I don't know where everybody stands from the alliance, and that comes up again on the 27th, but I can tell you this. Obviously, the past 10 to 15 years of this town in operation hadn't got us where we need to be, or at least where I want to be as a citizen of the town of Benson. And so I don't know if the alliance is the answer. This is what I look at, and I'm gonna let them, I'm not their salesman. Everybody gets their own opinion. I know they're sitting with a bank account with over $100 million in it right now. And if I got to pay $55,000 to get a piece of that over $100 million, you doggone right, I'll pay $55,000 any year
But
for that
is there any
return.
guarantee that you're gonna get any of that 100,000?
There's not a guarantee.
All right.
There-
There-
We only have 2
Guarantee we'll
votes.
be here next
It's not a
That's right.
guarantee on anything.
That's right.
Right.
There's a guarantee if we don't do anything different, we won't get any
Fail.
different results.
I know it's working.
That's true.
Right, and that's I've had 2 meetings with representatives in the past week, and both of them are saying, what are y'all doing? And I'm not saying you gotta be for it, I'm just saying that we're either gonna have to learn how to get the revenue to do what the town needs to do by taxing the people that live here, or figure out how to get people to move here to pay those taxes. And we all know that the homes that we're building are not gonna pay enough taxes to do that. And so, my question, we're arguing tonight over 2 pennies, and 2 pennies isn't enough to get us through the next 12 months, in my opinion. And so I think that if we're gonna argue over 2 cents, this board or any future board is not gonna be able to raise taxes enough to get what this town needs to do to fix all of the non-movement that has happened in this town over the past 10 to 15 years. Because there's not been any paving done, there's not been any infrastructure work unless we were lucky enough to get a grant. And I'm telling you, we can't depend on that as a town to survive. The county's not gonna give us funding, so we've gotta either figure out how to get the funding ourselves, which is by tax and rate increases, or by doing unorthodox things that I don't necessarily agree with 100%, but at least in a year from now, I can say maybe I tried something, maybe I didn't get the result I want, but at least I tried. If I don't try a year from now, then I'm gonna be sitting here saying we've done the same year, and we're gonna have the same argument over 2 more pennies next year. And that's the way I feel about it.
And you have to figure out what happens if you go with it and it fails and it blows up, or you don't go with it and it succeeds. You know, you gotta figure out which is more likely.
Well, way before the alliance ever came up, before they ever did anything with it, I sat on this board 15 years ago and said industry is what pays taxes. That's what gets things. Look at Four Oaks right now, $1.5 million worth of paving they're gonna get done. Who's doing it? The company is doing it that's coming in, the industry that they've got coming in, that's where the money's coming from. I'm just, if we're gonna get all of these amenities, then we're gonna have to look to bring something in here to pay it. It ain't a subdivision on the outskirts of Benson that's gonna pay these things. If I'm gonna get anything reduced where I am right now, it's gonna be because an industry has come in like PGI or something that big that's gonna add to this.
Or a hotel, or something, something that brings tax revenue with it.
That's exactly right. We can't do it with subdivisions. And if we're gonna do it with subdivisions and be a bedroom community, fine, then let's cut everything else.
And there's options to save money. Like I said, the county of July 1, we don't have to have trash stickers anymore. I still go to the dump. Maybe that's just because I was raised in the country. We could pick up every trash can and save $500,000 a year by not doing trash. And you can tell everybody to load up their pickup truck and go to the dump every week, just like I do.
I've had residents come to me and say, why are y'all even doing the trash? Let us, I'd like to have the choice to go out with whatever company and set my own price.
Well, and that's what, and it's gonna get to a point, if we don't get the income to pay for it, that's what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna pay for it, right? So
But
that's
those same people will dump it at the road in nothing, and then you're gonna be bitching and complaining about.
Oh, I
the-
agree
the-
with you.
Yeah.
That's right, that's right. You're right, 'cause Will doesn't have a pickup, so he might
I
go
mean,
throw
'cause
it
I
on Lakeshore
said-
Drive.
I see it going to work down Highway 13,
That's
there's
right. I know.
a house, they just right front porch, dump it right beside their porch.
But I would
Till
think,
it
I mean,
builds up and then they take it off to the dump.
and I could, again, I'm trying not to compare communities, but I mean, my wife is from Cleveland, so that's where I lived for the first 7 years after I got married, and it was absolutely miserable. But I can tell you that those Cleveland residents get the same thing for their county tax rate that we get for a town tax rate plus county tax rate. They have the same recreational facilities as the county, and the county just rolls over and gives it to them. And we don't get any benefit, right? Do I think we should be in alliance? I think it's a last resort. And I told the commissioner I was with the other night, I said, the reason we're even considering this is because y'all not funded another position to represent the southern part of the county. And I'm not knocking Chris Johnson. He is busy. I know he is busy. Harnett County has 4. Johnston County has 1, and we're the fastest growing county in the state. What's wrong with that picture? That's where my county tax dollars should be going to. But they're not doing it. They're reducing their rates. And so if they're not going to fill that void, then that gives me the ability to keep our tax bill the same and be able to afford it and fill that void in their place. That's the way I look at it, you know. And that's but no, I'm not raising taxes for the alliance because I don't know whether that's going to pass or fail. I'm raising taxes because it should have been raised every year for the past 15 years so that we had money to pave streets. Right? That's why
What I'm saying is, if you do vote to raise 2 cents, then go into the lines, you've only increased, what, 25,000, no?
Well, no, because, I mean, right now, that line item has enough in it, whether you guys
Because y'all found
decide-
stuff out of, because it originally had 30,000.
It has in
And
the
then y'all
past.
found stuff you robbed Peter to pay Paul,
That's
basically.
right.
Correct,
Yeah.
because I wanted to ensure that the programs and the funding we needed elsewhere at the 11th hour weren't then cut.
Yeah.
So
Somewhere that
basically,
wasn't
if
already
you want
looked
to
at.
increase revenue or the budget by 80,000 and keep it that way, and then join the alliance, you really need to raise it 4 cents.
I'm okay with a 4-cent increase.
Oh, I'm not.
I'll go a dime. How much, I mean, realistically, we've got projects that need to take place. I want my street paved. I want Railroad Road paved. I want
Didn't Pine
Harnett
Street get paved?
It did. But you know what it doesn't have? They tore out the stormwater years ago because the town wouldn't spend the money to replace the failed stormwater line. So I've got a skateboard ramp in front of my house. Go by there about 40 miles an hour and I'll pick up your tire because I get hubcaps every day. Right? It's because somebody said we're not going to raise taxes, and instead of replacing this failed stormwater line that used to run down Paris Drive to my house, they just killed it. They just cut the line out. I've got the concrete right in front of my yard on the curb where the stormwater drain used to be. And I'm sorry, that's not the way I'm going to do business. I'm sorry, that's just irresponsible in my opinion. And I don't agree with that. And so that's where I'm at. If we may not see it next year, but if we don't start increasing to be able to afford the projects and they need to be done, then 2 years from now, we're going to be killing a water line to somebody because we're not going to have the money to replace it.
So if we take the current 2-cent conversation out of the picture, what was the feeling on the budget previously? Because I know if people want to have time to think about the 2 cents change, but
Is there
other
any
than
other
that,
changes?
was
Yeah.
there anything else?
I don't like the trash deal.
Do you have a proposed revision?
No, but I mean, you know, no, but I just don't think it's fair to, you know, what I've always been told, we don't make no money off the trash, we're just a pass-through.
You're a pass-through other than what you have to do for Porter Street.
And currently expenditures,
To maintain Porter Street.
Yeah.
currently this year, as of today, expenditures are $584,815.42, and we have brought in $489,686.43.
Now, some
But-
of that is gonna be Porter Street too, but not.
Correct.
But
yeah.
then GFL, then I'm told that GFL only charges what they pick up, correct?
Yes.
So in theory,
Yeah.
I don't never set out my yard waste can. So GFL's never charged the town for it, but the town's charged me for it. Because they do that. You see where I'm going with all this? So there shouldn't be, because I'm getting charged for all three, worst case scenario. But GFL's not charging the town for it.
Help me understand your point, because isn't it that we take in this money and we pay out this money, and that's the difference? Not what you got per can and all that stuff. It's not that micro, it's macro. We paid 400, we got in 400,000, we paid out 500,000. It's not about cans, it's about $100,000.
From what they told me, that GFL charges from what they picked up, the cans they picked up.
But they charged us.
It doesn't matter what they charge. What it matters is the fact that we had to pay it, and we didn't get enough revenue to cover it.
That's right.
I understand that, but what I'm not getting is the town done worst case scenario in billing and bills for all three. But
If they did
GFL
worst case scenario, then we would have a positive revenue.
But that's what I'm saying. What went wrong?
I have no idea, and I don't think we're going to answer that in the next 7
I don't
days.
think
No.
there was an
Yeah, I mean,
increase
that's
at some point in the last year.
Yeah.
That's what it was. There was an increase at some point.
You mean the GFL contract? Well, you know, they have the right to increase their contract.
Whenever
the
they
fees of
need
the
to.
contract, If they tie that increase to
Inflation.
overhead. Right, overhead.
Right.
And if they tie that
Fuel,
increase,
tipping
we
fees.
don't have the right to, well, I mean, I guess we can increase our rates during the year.
But
we
then they
never do.
said the increase, they would have to notice us, right? On something.
They can notice you on
Yeah,
the
it
bill,
said
say
that
do it in
last
30
week,
days.
but we haven't, I haven't received, did you see one in the last year?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I
What's
have-
wrong? What's wrong?
Yeah.
So,
So we're gonna make a decision.
I mean, I
about the
agree. We
budget?
don't. If that's truly what we're paying, we don't need to go in a hole.
Right.
How
Correct.
do you feel?
Correct.
And there's nothing to say we don't
Yeah.
get a new contract and change the rates mid-year, because you all can amend and revise any of the fee schedules at any point throughout the year.
Yeah.
Because I think they're screwing us.
Who?
GFL. I'm just saying.
But we can't fix that till December.
30
I
days.
understand that, but it just.
I
it just-
understand.
30 days notice. I'm gonna give you 30 days notice. It would increase.
We
But
just
they ain't
get
got
on
no
this?
I don't know about that, but the contract requires 30 days notice. If the increase is occasioned.
Because we voted on like a 3% increase, you know,
That's what the contract said.
yeah, but we actually
Remember,
voted
there's
on.
two
Yeah.
increases.
But the contract said they could also increase another percentage to cover inflation. It was an
Well,
automatic
that's not even a
3.
percentage, there's an increase they can do annually in January to reflect table 1 of the consumer price index, et cetera, for service industry category group, water and sewer, anyway. The CPI index tied to trash collection, I guess that's contemplated in the contract.
We went up 4%.
That's annual, but then, and that's not tied to a number, it's not 3%, 2%, 4%, it's whatever that CPI index is. Then they can, all throughout the year, on 30 days' notice, say, I've got to increase you for what they call operational costs. Material processing fees, government regulations, price per gallon fuel exceeding $4 a gallon, landfill tipping fees, et cetera. So that's the 30 day, that can go up any amount.
But they ain't
They
noticed.
tie it to whatever the.
But they got to notice us.
They have to give you 30 days notice.
Yeah, they have.
So, back to the
But I'm
tax
just saying,
increase.
That's just one part of the whole puzzle.
Right.
Oh yeah, I mean I agree with you.
We
But
need to look at everything that we're spending money on, and if it's costing us, we better be looking at 4 years from now if it's gonna put money back in our pocket.
Well,
I mean I agree with you, but and another what I'm saying, I mean go out for bid, good. I just hope we don't get back in this situation to where we're getting overcharged.
Agreed. But we're going to have the staff to watch that.
I agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just got a text message. I don't know how. I mean, this is just a text message. Somebody must be watching. Clayton's going up 5 cents.
So that's what
and they're at
that's
60.
what I'm trying to get at.
They're at 60 cent right now.
They're going
already
to-
higher than us.
They're going to 65, and for the average single-family home with an assessed tax value around $225,000, that is going to result in an annual increase of $113 on their tax bill. They're going up 5 cents, and it's going to result in an annual increase of $115 per household.
do you think that I wouldn't be all about doing that versus $900 a month that it's gonna cost me on utilities?
You still have that plus the 900.
Yeah, well, thank you, Dean. Appreciate it.
You're gonna have both, cause you
Well,
can't.
think about that though, and think about economic development, and I'm gonna be the bad guy in the room, because I mean, I don't mind being, but think about economic development. Is 52% of the people that live in this town don't pay taxes.
Oh,
The property owners pay taxes. And then when we go as an economic developer and say, we've got this business that wants to move here, will you sell their property? No, we're not gonna sell our property. You wanna know why? Because they love their property. They love their property because their property doesn't cost them anything, and they're able to get a return on that property by charging $1,200 a month in rent. And the people that live there don't see the increase. The only increase they're gonna see is the rates. And if we increase the rates and we don't then we are burdening tenants with the increase instead of the property owners. And the property owners don't lose any money. They continue to make more money because they're going to inflate their rent every year. I'm telling you, because this is my business. And the people that live there are the only ones that hurt. And they have to live there with standards of living that are less because the property owners aren't paying more taxes that we can build their roads up.
and that's my customers.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. So that is what we're talking about right here, is the fact that, and you know, that's not right. We should not be at a 52% rental rate in the town of Benson. That is too high. It was 60-something% when I got on this board, right? And so that's where we're at, is the fact, and the tenants, bless their heart, are the ones that vote us in, because the property owners that don't live in town don't get to vote either. So it's the tenants that's put us in. So if we don't increase taxes and we continue to increase rates to cover our losses, we are hurting the tenants that live in the property, who are typically the people with less income than the property owners. And the property owners are happy because they don't have any increases on their board, and they, hey, it's your utility bill, you pay the rate increase. I ain't gotta pay that because that's part of your lease, right? So that's what we're talking about. That's what I feel like we're talking about between taxes and rates. If you want to increase the revenue to be able to do projects, the tenants may not be able to pay it, but they're temporary, or should be temporary, hopefully, in the economy, because we got the greatest economy in the world if you watch the news right now, and it's been the best in years. So, but realistically, if we don't tax the people that own the properties, and I'm a property owner, own multiple, just like you do, commercial too, then we're not covering our costs to be able to increase our property value. And then it turns into a $200 a month rental, and people live in situations that they shouldn't live in, but they won't turn them in because if they turn them in, they'll be homeless. And that's what we've got going on in this town right now, right? And so I'm telling you that 2 cent ain't going to fix it, but at least in the next 7 days, that's a step in the right direction. If we do 2 cent, and then Kayla and whoever she hires can go through that budget and find consolidation or find savings on trash and grass and uniforms and all the things we're talking about tonight, then maybe we're going to end up with a positive revenue at the end of the year instead of a negative, where we can actually tackle some capital improvement items such as paving versus operating expenses, which is what we're budgeting for. And 2 cent right now, based on what the county passed Tuesday night, is no increase. It just means they're not getting a decrease. The property owners, not the people that live in the 52% of rental houses. The property owners are not getting a decrease. They're staying even. And that's the only thing I'm proposing, is don't give them a cheaper ride next year. Make them pay the same thing to benefit us, to benefit the people that live in this town.
So are we tabling the budget until next week? I mean, what's the pleasure of the board?
Well, by the poll, I think we're a split tie. So are we going to have a split tie, or are we going
We're
to
gonna
take?
have a split time.
Are we having a split tie tonight?
I am.
Because
I don't know about nobody else.
Are we going to split tie?
Are you talking,
Cassandra
Yeah.
votes and she's mayor pro tem.
What
Yeah,
is,
Cassandra
what's your
votes.
opinion on this?
Cassandra votes.
as far as the two
2
cent?
I just need to think about it and go back over my figures. I don't want to sit here and make a ready. And as far as getting the budget, the state don't always pass their budget by July 1st, but
I'm
they
talking about the county.
I'm talking about the state.
Right.
So if
We
it's not.
have,
We have
we
to.
have to, though.
Yeah,
We
The
have
state
to.
gets to make their own
Well, you
rules.
may-
We have to follow under the
We have to
LDC
still
rules.
play by
Yeah.
their rules that they're
We
not
don't
playing
get
by.
It's not do as they do, it's do as you're told.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to do it tonight.
Are there any other proposals in which everyone would feel okay passing the budget tonight?
I'm prepared to make the motion to approve the budget with a 2-cent increase in taxes. I make that motion.
Will?
He's got a motion on the floor. You asking me to vote? I vote yes.
She didn't call it.
I have
You
been.
gotta call.
You gotta
All
call,
in
you
favor.
gotta call for the motion.
I have been.
You can
all
discuss
over.
your
I mean,
motion.
you can discuss it, but you gotta call for the
I've
motion.
been looking cuts because it's affected me as much as anybody on this whole board. I would love to say, no, I'm not gonna give nobody another penny, but I can't.
So I entertain a motion to approve the budget with a suggested 2-cent increase.
I make that motion.
All in favor, say
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Those opposed?
No.
Alright, we gotta do a hand raise. 'cause-
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, so
No.
2 no, 3 no.
3 no's.
Well, you don't have the mayor.
So
Yeah.
3,
Right.
so it's a tie.
So it's a tie. So it doesn't pass. So in lieu of not passing, if you'll call for a motion, I'll make a motion that we
Adjourn.
postpone it until
Until
the
next.
27th meeting.
Okay,
with
so
the-
I'll make a motion to oppose it until next, well, the 27th, which is
Yes.
next
Next Thursday night.
Thursday night.
And you can move, that's something we maybe should have gone over just as a review kind of, but as mayor pro tem, you still have all your regular duties as a commissioner, you just preside, so you still vote and make motions.
Okay.
You're only the mayor in the sense that you're running the meeting,
Okay,
and you still have your voting authority on it.
okay.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Well, can I just make one,
We still, we still have some items.
I'm ready to go.
I just have one quick thing. And I'm gonna send an email, but I wanted to go ahead and because you're all here tonight except for the mayor. We have been given, the bid on the Tar Heel League softball state tournament, which is awesome. We are gonna have, we're estimating 3,000 people here in the town between July 18th and July 21st. It's a Thursday through Sunday. We'll be using South Johnston, Civic Center, the Benson Middle, and VS Park Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, everything will be at VS Park. On July the 18th, there's going to be an opening ceremony at South Johnston High School, and all of you, we would like for y'all to come for the opening ceremony. You need to be there. Where's Matt? Be there at 12. Be there at 12:30.
And there's gonna be a lot of people, so I would plan to be there before then to be able
So we
to
can get
park
you where
and
you
get
need to
up there.
be. It starts at 1 o'clock. It'll be at South Johnston Football Field. So if you are able to come, we would love for you to be there. This is very, very exciting for our Parks and Rec department. We get a percentage of the gate fees. Obviously, we've got Sisters 2 runs our concession stand, but we'll have food trucks at the other at the other 3 locations. We get 10% of those proceeds, just like we do through Sisters 2. And then they're also going to be selling softball swag that we'll get to keep all the revenue for that. So our Parks and Rec staff are really pumped. They are getting ready. It's going to bring a big crowd. We've let Elevate Benson know. They announced it Tuesday night at their meeting. I personally contacted Fainting Goat, Salvaged Heirlooms, Cornerstone to let them know, like, hey, downtown, we're hoping is going to be bebopping along. We'll let Fiesta Mexicana and all the other restaurants know, too. I just had their numbers directly. So we've already let all them know. Johnston County Visitor Bureau is aware of it, so they're going to be posting it on their stuff. So it's going to be an exciting thing. So you think about it, in July, we've got 3,000 people coming for this. In September, you have Mule Days. You know, that brings a ton of people. And then in October, we have the
the bike trail was gonna bring about 3,000 people, so we're getting on the map.
Don't forget about this
So
weekend.
July the 18th, you said what?
Oh,
time
yeah.
then?
Be there at least by 12:30.
30.
12:30 to be safe. It'll start at 1 o'clock. And don't forget, this weekend is the Benson Sing. And they've already started, there was an RV parked out there this morning, so.
Oh, they got the
Yep.
permit.
Is there town attorney report?
I don't have anything, no. Commissioner Stack?
Anything from the Board of Commissioners?
I want to say again what I said last time. I'm probably going to keep saying it every time because I keep going through there and take my life in my hands when I go through the traffic circle. I don't understand how the DOT doesn't understand that it's a danger. I'm telling you, I've seen cars come through there and do that little wiggle and going about 40 miles an hour.
It is very
And I don't understand how that happens. I don't understand. I had one of my former staff got broadsided by some dude doing that, I think. And then he asked her why'd she hit him. And they went and watched the video, and it was clear that he hit her right in the side. You know, so I think we've got to, somebody's got to do something, or somebody's going to kill her.
Susie and I last Sunday came through, and if I hadn't stopped, a Hispanic lady never checked up, went across to everything, and I hollered at her. Her window was down. She didn't even glance at me. I think she knew it once she got through it, but she would have busted us open.
I think the sign, it looks to me like it's wrong. There's something right with that.
They're supposed to be fixing the signage out there, but, I mean, I
It is
forwarded,
lit up now.
yeah, I forwarded you all the message
Yeah.
that they're not gonna reduce the speed, but they're hoping with the fish hooks and the additional signage, it'll do something.
I like it.
They seem to
I'm
be
used to
saying
them
it because if you're in a big traffic circle, you got to turn into the traffic circle. You can't go 40 miles an hour. But this is just
They-
such a little straight. It's such a little deviation.
They shouldn't be going 45 into 25 anyway. If they're going 45 mile an hour, we need to be giving tickets.
But they do it all they've done it all the time, even before
roundabout
then,
circle
and
for
we've got so many
big enough
people
to put
on
the
Main
one,
Street.
cars SUV
Brian's
on top
one
of it.
them
I know it
Hey,
takes
that'll
me,
slow them down.
it takes me a lot less time to get to work. I like it. I like the circle. I've not had any issues with it, but I know how to yield. I mean,
Well, that's
I'm used to them.
exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
can kind of see them coming. You know.
That's right.
I see a lot of people, there's nothing coming, and they completely stop.
Right.
And it's like they don't know what to do. They're looking.
They do the same thing at the four-way stop signs, though.
Well, you
Yeah.
get
People
that.
haven't gone through driver's ed in a long, long,
And
long
that's
time
not
around
kill
here.
anybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Huh?
that mistake don't kill anybody.
No,
Going
but
through there like a
it's,
bullet.
it causes wrecks though, because somebody's gonna plow into it.
You know, when Matt was here, he said that it was a safety factor because the collisions and the traffic circle were 8 miles an hour. That is bull crap. That's a different traffic circle than what we're talking about.
Dean, did you
No,
have
I'm good.
anything? I don't have anything to report. Ms. Holly? Will?
Just one thing, it was either come here tonight or celebrate my 48th anniversary today.
Happy anniversary.
Well,
Shame on
she
you.
is a blessed woman. Okay?
Wow.
Wow.
I am sure. Well,
And look what I got her for
We're
anniversary.
gonna get something else when
2
you get home.
pieces of candy.
Well, happy anniversary,
Well, thank you.
Commissioner Neighbors.
I have nothing, no ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have anything for the mayor. Ma'am, I get a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll make that motion. I make a motion that we adjourn. ASAP.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Oh, Jesus.